I'd like to bring the January 11th, 2012 Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Will you all please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, John.
Commissioner Sherwood.
Here.
Commissioner Morabito.
Here.
Commissioner Azarmi.
Here.
Commissioner Coletta.
Here.
Commissioner Simons.
Here.
Commissioner Keller. Commissioner Posanel.
Here.
And Chairman Fluchet.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
A couple of announcements. Anyone who has not yet signed in, please do so at the table in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete the request to speak form, which is also located in the lobby next to the sign-in sheet. A request to speak form must be completed for each item you would like to speak on, including sub-items. Please note that there are stairs on the right, the left, center aisles, and we ask that you use caution when using these stairs. There's also a ramp located to the audience's left. If anyone has written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, letters they intend to present at today's meeting, please have 17 copies and give them to the staff member in the back of the auditorium. There she is, right back there. Thank you. If you do not have 17 copies, please you may use the table with the overhead camera next to the podium to present your documents. If you want your documents to go on record, you must hand them to the clerk after your presentation with the agenda item clearly marked on the document. Members of the public cannot speak to staff members that are sitting at the table with the microphones in the front during the meeting. If you have any questions, please see the staff member located in the back of the auditorium who can meet with you in the lobby. Staff is sitting right up here in the front. Timer will be activated with all speakers with a limit of 2 minutes to make their presentations and statements. Everyone, please turn off your cell phones, pagers, or put them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must receive a call, please leave the meeting area and go outside to have your conversation. We also ask the audience refrain from talking with anyone during the presentations and discussion. Today's Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward recommendations to the Board of Supervisors. The items with the recommendations made by the Commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors Monday, February 6th at 9:30 a.m. in the same location, with the exception of any continued items. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking is allowed curb to curb. Also, only bottled water is allowed in the auditorium. No food, soda, coffee, etc. will be allowed in the auditorium. If the meeting is still in session, the Commission will break for lunch at 1 p.m. Last month's minutes, everybody had a chance to look at those? Any comments or corrections?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion to approve the minutes from December meeting. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Consent agenda. Do we have anything that needs to be pulled? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda, item number 1. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 2A.
Yes, item 2A. An evaluation request for a minor amendment to the Virgin River Communities Area Plan for Assessor Parcel 402-23-401 from a low-density residential land use designation to a general commercial land use designation, and a minor amendment to the Mohave County General Plan for the Assessor Parcel 402-23-401 from an urban development low-density residential land use destination to an urban development commercial recreation land use designation, and to amend exhibits 6.3 and 6.5, a general plan to match, to establish a staging area for horseback and all-terrain vehicle rides in a scenic area, Mohave County, Arizona. Staff recommendation. Staff recommends approval of the proposed rezone, the proposed plan amendment, subject to the following. Assessor parcels 402-23-401 will be changed from a low-density residential land use designation to a general commercial land use designation within the Virgin Community Area Plan as shown on Exhibit A. And condition number 2, assessor parcel 402-23-401 shall be changed from urban development low-density land use designation to low urban development area commercial recreation land use designation. And as shown on Exhibit 2, Exhibit 6.3 and 6.5 amended. Sorry for the microphone here. You have several letters in your packet. 4 are opposed to the case, and 1 is in favor of it. A map also shows the area where people are opposed. If you go back, Wendy, 1 or 2 slides. There. Those in pink are opposed, and the one lady to the west is in favor, but she's off the map. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? Would you like to address the commission at this time, or wait? Please come forward. Just up to the microphone, state your name, please.
Tim Orrell.
Okay, thank you.
I was going to answer any
questions?
Any
Okay.
complaints or questions, yes.
Okay, all right. Do we have any questions or comments to the applicant?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just have one question. Sir, where's the BLM property with respect to yours right here? I can't,
Where is it?
yeah. You said it's adjacent to your property, right?
Yes, right out my driveway to the end. I live to the end of Las Vegas Way, and the BLM starts right there.
So, and looking at the map that's displayed right now, would that be just south of the subject property there?
It would southwest.
Northwest.
Section 9. BLM would
Northwest.
be mostly west, but a little south.
Okay, so that's that big vacant area then?
Yeah. so you said
I'm
you-
almost to the end.
Okay, I got it. So it's not adjacent to your property then, it is a little bit away from your property?
Yes,
Okay,
small.
all right, thank you.
Any additional questions of the applicant? If not, I'll entertain a motion on 2A.
I would like to say one thing.
Okay, make it quick,
I'm
please.
sorry. There's only one ATV that I'm requesting. Mainly it's the horse rides. I noticed in the letter, one of the last letter, it said ATV rides. 99% of this is going to be the horses, 2 or 3 horses. There's only one ATV that's involved when a senior person or a person with a disability or maybe a kid can't make the full ride on a horse. The ATV would go along behind the horse maybe 3 or 4 miles an hour so those people could also make the ride.
Okay.
And also, with the one ATV, I would like to take people up to the Grand Canyon Parishment area, if they want to, which is about 20 miles through a mountain pass. It's accessible by 4-wheel drive only. That's the use of the ATV.
Okay, any additional questions? I'll entertain a motion on 2A.
I'd make a motion to approve per staff recommendations.
Second?
We have a motion to approve item 2A. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 2B.
2B is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 402-23-401 from an AR, agricultural residential, 1 acre minimum lot size zone to CRE, commercial recreation zone, to establish a staging area for horseback and all-terrain vehicle rides in the scenic area. Staff recommends approval of the rezone, subject to the conditions of the staff report as indicated by Kevin. There were some letters of opposition and 1 letter of support. Thank you.
Okay, the applicant is present. Any questions or comments on item 2B? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve item 2B. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Those
Aye.
opposed,
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 3.
Item 3 is an
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, yes.
Thank you.
Item 3 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 30506-114A from an AR, agricultural residential, 1 acre minimum lot size zone to a C2 general commercial zone for general commercial uses, including but not limited to retail, office, and food service uses in the Golden Valley vicinity. Staff recommends approval of the proposed rezone as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present for item 3? Would you like to address the commission?
Good morning. I'd just like to answer any questions, if there are any.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission?
Yes.
Go ahead, Crystal.
I understand that the plaza you're building will entertain several different, things in it.
Yes.
Have you already set up, or do you have people who are looking already forward to rent out these spaces?
No, actually, we're entertaining exactly what we're going to do. We've had several inquiries about the property, and so we're talking to several different tenants now, some food service, actually some possible office warehouse in towards the rear of the property, and we'd like to keep 1 extra pad on the state route for a commercial purpose. But we've surprisingly had a lot of inquiries. We're very excited.
Okay. Thank you.
Could you please state your name?
I'm sorry, Kent Berry.
Thank you, Kent.
Sure.
Any additional questions of the speaker? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Okay, second.
We have a motion to approve item 3. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Item number 3 carries. Item number 4A, 4B, C, and D, I need to excuse myself as a possible conflict of interest. The Vice Chair will take over on that item. Thank you.
Item 4A.
Item 4A is an evaluation of a request for the Board of Supervisors to determine whether proposed amendments to the Mohave County General Plan and the Sterling Area Plan shall be considered major or minor amendments as authorized by Policy 27.7 of the Mohave County General Plan and Section 40.2.B.3.A.4 of the Mohave County Zoning Ordinance. Staff recommends that the proposed amendments to the Mohave County General Plan and the Sterling Area Plan shall be considered as minor amendments as authorized by Policy 27.7 of the Mohave County General Plan and Section 40.2.B.3.A.4 of the Mohave County Zoning Ordinance. Thank you.
Is the applicant ready and would like to address, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Robert
State
Hibbs.
your name.
Yes, I am Robert Hibbs. I am the manager of Sterling Solar LLC and the developer of the Sterling Solar project. Mr. Vice Chairman, in order to make sure the issues are clear during my presentation, I'd like permission to refer to staff, if possible, to clarify any issues that might arise.
Well, please go ahead and, elaborate on what you want to discuss, and if the commission has any question, they will address that with the staff.
Certainly. All right, well, this is an application by Sterling Solar LLC, a Washington limited liability company. And Sterling is the applicant to amend and change the reference within the existing area plan and the Board of Supervisors resolution that you passed last year from a specific technology known as the sun catcher to a more general reference for all types of photovoltaic technologies. There are no further changes to the area plan. We have just simply deleted the references to sun catcher, and we have substituted the county's ESP, which is solar photovoltaic designation. The county staff is recommending that it be considered to be a minor amendment. The impact to the area is not significantly different than the existing zoning. The configuration for the project and a small reduction of size in the project, other than that, will be the same. There is no significant difference in grading or water usage or traffic impacts or visual impacts on the Golden Shores or anyone else. And so it's fairly simple. We just took one designation out, we changed the other. So I would, to the extent that you need John Montgomery of the staff to elaborate, we would appreciate that.
Thank you. Any question from the applicant? Does the commission want to have the staff elaborate on anything?
I'd like to have Mr. Montgomery kind of back up that statement that there's no other changes.
The only changes that are proposed are those in the, if you look in the staff recommendations, if language is lined through, it's to be struck. If it's bolded and underlined, it's to be added. I'm not sure the extent in the plan amendments, but in the rezone, it amounts to striking one phrase in condition 1 that says ESE, or Energy Sterling Engine, and replaces that with ESP, Energy Solar Photovoltaic. So this is strictly a text amendment in the rezone, and because it doesn't alter the land use mixture and balance that was established last year, staff believes it should be considered minor for purposes of this item. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
We do have other speakers on this item. Chuck DeShazer.
Yes, my name is Chuck DeShazer. I live just west of the property that's being discussed here, and I fully support the project as it stands. I understand that the Sterling Motor Company, or whatever it was, went out of business, and that's why the changes need to be made. My only real concern at this point, though, is that right now, from where BLM leaves the pavement in Golden Shores down what's called Polaris Road, from what I've found out going through planning and zoning and public works, there is no road technically there from BLM property to Diane Road on Polaris Road, due to, over the years, things being mixed up with an abandonment of the existing Polaris Road, the new Polaris Road being put in. And I would just ask that that get clarified in the future so that there would be continued access through the center of their project so that I can get to my house. I have no other way to get there legally without that road getting a designation as being either county property or giving me a granted permission to cross that property. I don't know what, for sure, the security fences around this plant might end up being without that being clarified. And that would be my only concern. From the meetings I've attended in Golden Shores and seen over the years, there's a bunch of opposition from the people in Golden Shores that they're going to lose their access to what they consider their desert to run freely across on their sand rails, ATVs, and everything else, which is private property owned by the Sterling Corporation. And as far as I'm concerned, it's none of their concern as to what somebody does with their property as long as they go through the proper steps to get it approved. That's all I have to say, I guess.
Thank you. Any question from the speaker? Thank you.
Okay.
Chuck, you just placed in item number 4. Are you interested to just talk on item 4A or one? I mean, you didn't specify.
I looked at the various parts of A, B, C, and D,
Right.
and I'm fine with just the one
Thank you
speaking.
for it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Is someone on staff that can answer the question? Do we know an answer about the road?
Mr. Chairman, this item is about deciding whether it's a minor or major amendment. The road at this point is irrelevant, but further items B and C and D will discuss the zone change. And the way I understand it, only the use is proposed to be changed from Stirling engine to photovoltaic, and maybe the applicant can answer the questions on the road at that time, whether they're gonna provide that road and access to the gentlemen and other property owners. My understanding is that they proposed last time that they will, but probably that's a proper question to ask at that time.
Okay, thanks, Nick.
Thank you. Brad Chapman? Speaker Brad Chapman? Please state your name.
Brad Chapman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to speak as an expert in the field of renewable technologies. I've been in the renewable technology market for about 22 years. I started my career with Bosch, and I'm now doing work with the Center of Sustainable Energy in California and Arizona. And speaking to what Mr. Hibbs spoke about, I wanted to shed a little light and clear it up that as far as the grading of the land goes, solar PV has the least detriment and install of any of the technologies, including the solar Stirling engine. And depending on how it's engineered, you can stagger PV. So there is really no grading difference between solar PV and the technology that was recommended last time. So, and there's many examples around the world of this. Solar PV actually has about 90% of the install across the world.
Yeah, thank you. Any question from the speaker? I have a question on the flat panels.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that there is no need for any grading to make it reasonably level?
There not for no grading, but there's not much of a difference in grading between the solar PV flat panels and the Stirling engine. You can stagger solar PV just like you can stagger a Stirling engine. Actually, it's easier.
So if they decide to go with the flat panel, panels, you're saying that they don't have to be reasonably level.
Right. You can engineer them and stagger them.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Scott Chapman.
Yes, my name is Scott Chapman. I've been a resident of Mohave County for 16 years, and I would only like to bring it to the attention of the board that this particular project has the capability and opportunity to provide Mohave County with numerous jobs that will affect the overall economy of the entire county. And I'm sure I could go on and on and on, but I think that pretty much sums it up.
Thank you. Any question from the speaker?
Yes.
Go ahead.
When you speak of numerous jobs, is that numerous jobs, well, it's under construction and being built for a short-term duration, or are you looking at long-term?
Well, obviously, during the construction is when the majority of the jobs would be created, which is a long, drawn-out process as it expands as it goes. Once it's totally done, then obviously you don't need that amount of people.
And how many jobs would you predict are going to be long-term that it's going to create after it's done?
I probably don't have the expertise to speak on that, but I'm sure the applicant can.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Susan Moore?
Good morning. My name is Susan Moore, Dash Bear. Forgot the Dash Bear. I think this is a great project, and I think you should approve this. As we all know, the jobs is the big hook. You know, we need jobs, jobs, jobs. That's great. That's if they're hired locally here or not coming from California and Vegas, and ka-ching for them, and well, oh well, too bad, so sad for us with it. But I encourage that you vote and have this changed as a minor amendment and approve it wholeheartedly. This is in District 5, the newly drafted district. Sorry, Mr. Morabito, but you may have a thumbs up on the rest of those candidates because, sir, you sit on this committee and you will be voting where your other candidates will not that are running for the board position also.
Excuse me, this is not related to...
I believe it is.
Okay.
And I'm just letting you know that I think it's an unfair advantage she has. Thank you.
Any question from the speaker? Thank you. Denise Benthusen? Denise?
Good morning. My name is Denise Ben-Susan, 4811 East Cayubill, Kingman, Arizona, 86409. As you know, I've always been in support of this project, and I followed it pretty closely from beginning to end. In particular, as we went through testimony through the original action, or the original project disclosure, the tracker, the Sterling tracker, was put on the record to be a very positive, a more positive way to install, to generate the energy rather than to utilize denuding, which, depending on the way they install the photovoltaic panels, which of course I do approve of, but if there is an extensive amount of denuding, it affects the wildlife, it affects drainage and flooding. And that is something we talked about throughout this process. I think there could be a stark difference in these areas, and I think it's something that you must examine to be sure we don't have any major changes in that original approval, because we had all these other positive issues. There are other trackers that will install similar to this one. I mean, they don't have to do much of anything with a tracker type situation. I'm in support of the project, but I just please hope you will consider and make sure we understand the differences and the technical way they will be installing the photovoltaic panels, because I hate to disagree with the other gentleman. I am an energy specialist for a private company, for-profit company here in Mohave County, and in watching the installs, looking at the engineering plans, there can be a very drastic difference in the two ways these are installed. So please I would take a look at that and just please make sure that the folks that are running this really give you full disclosure. I think it's a good project, and whether it's just temporary jobs, we could use those too, and let alone it's just good for the earth. So I am worried about the denuding and how they're going to install the panels. So I appreciate the time.
Thank
Would
you.
you have any questions for me?
Thank you. Any questions from the speaker? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chris, do you want to take a break now or at 11 o'clock? 11. Okay, thank you. All right, we don't have any additional speakers on this item 4A. We're going to close it to speakers. Discussion among the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Sherwood?
Could I ask for the applicant to come back up, please?
Sure.
While this may not, or while this may be handled later on, I would like to have an answer for Mr. Short with regard to his access to his property. Will you be providing access to his property?
Yeah, currently there was a BLM road that when the property was acquired by, I'm also a partner in the landowner, that was 17 years ago. The BLM decommissioned or whatever, shut down their road. We then created what is generally known as Polaris. And it is private, and we allowed everybody to go across it. When this project's developed, we will provide, it may not be in exactly that location, but we're going to need to provide some access over there.
Okay, but that is part of the site planning process?
Yes,
to
it
ensure
is.
that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have some questions to ask you. Have you worked with ADOT on this project yet, on your behalf?
No, we have not.
Okay. And last time you mentioned that you have no plans to pave Polaris Road, from Roadman Road and that. Is that correct?
Well, when we go through site plan review with the county, the staff will recommend the quality of the road, as I understand it, depending upon the amount of traffic and the type of traffic. So they will need to go through site review, and the engineers from the county will determine and tell us what kind of road we have to build.
Okay.
And whatever that is, it is.
I know that, this item has nothing to do with the questions I'm asking, but in general, for A, B, C, and D are kind of correlated. So that's why I'm asking this question up
Certainly.
front and this, so everybody would be involved. The other thing is you mentioned in your, this morning that, you're thinking about the minimal grading. So the technology that you're going to choose is going to have minimal grading. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And it will be similar to what's currently, what would have been the grading for the Suncatcher.
Okay, so basically what was proposed a couple of years ago or so, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And additionally, that grading and the design of that grading will have to go through staff, go through site review, et cetera. The engineers of the county will have to tell us what we can do and what we can't.
Okay. And then the main entrance to the project is going to be from Needle Mountain Road. Is that correct?
No, we'll probably come across on what is called Polaris.
Polaris, so you're going to have that, okay? So all the equipments and all that are coming from the main entrance then, is that?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any questions. Thank you. Okay, further discussions, commissioners? Any comments?
I'd like to maybe make a quick clarification. I belong to District 2. I was appointed by Supervisor Sockwell. We approved this issue 1 year ago, and thank you for adding to my campaign, but this is not about that. This is about the change in leadership and the name and the technology. So, but thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion? I guess we're ready for a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Opposed? No? Okay. 4B and C.
Yes, item 4B, an evaluation request for amendment to BOS Resolution Number 2010-230, setting forth a major amendment to the Mohave County General Plan for various sections in Township 16.5 North, 20.5 West, 16.5 North, Range 20 West, 18 north range 20.55 west, 18 north range 20 west, and 16 north range 19 west. Many exhibits 6.4 and 6.10 on general plan to match, and also approximately 21 square miles of area. The slides here show the area to be amended, and I can also read item 4C if you'd like to, which is the area plan amendment.
Thank you. Okay. The applicant, please. You have any comments? For B and C.
If there's another map of the project that shows the outline of the area impacted by this amendment, could we bring that up on the screen?
Commissioners, this is the map showing the boundary of the proposed change in the for the Sterling from Sterling to photovoltaic, and also it corresponds with the change for the E zone from ESC to ESP.
The area affected is there were two parts to the previous application made a year ago, in which the area south of the railroad tracks but north of I-40 was zoned heavy industrial. There are no changes to that application. The project we're referring to here is north of the tracks, and and as you see, the boundaries located there are accurate. The access will, as we say, come in from Polaris Road. So the proposed modifications to the general plan should assist the county. I think it's very good for, the county has policies in place to promote development of alternative energy production facilities. We're proposing to develop and build 1,200 megawatts of solar and renewable energy. The county also is encouraged to promote non-residential development projects that may lead to significantly increased county employment. The question was asked of numbers of employment, and some of that depends upon the system of how many phases we build at a time, but it could be upwards of 1,300 people for construction period. That could be from 4 to 6 years in length. And long-term, again, depending upon the type of tracking system we put in, could lead up to 400 permanent jobs. The other pieces of this understand that these zoning changes impact the land, and they run with the land. So the landowners that I am representing here at this meeting are the same as they were under the previous application and approval, and they've owned most of this land for approximately 17 years. Far too long. We'd like to get something done. And the defined technology will be some sort of photovoltaic or PV, it's easier to say. As we talked about, the grading shouldn't entail any greater grading, and so that shouldn't be a problem. In order to go through with construction approval, we need to go, following this rezone, we need to go before the Army Corps of Engineers for permits on drainage and get their approval. We need to go to the county staff and first go through with their engineering support, and go through site review and then building review. And I could refer that to Kevin Davidson for expansion, because he knows a lot of the specifics there. And also they will control the impacts on traffic, on dust control during construction, et cetera. And I would refer that to Tim Walsh. We've had multiple meetings at Golden Shores over this multiple approval process, and we've had very good approval from those people. We've had extensive dealings with the railroad, and we've satisfied all of their concerns. As far as the project schedule goes, we are dealing with the Western Area Power Administration, and they control the power lines. And there will be substantial upgrades to be made to those power lines so that this power can be placed on the grid. Western will be requiring a full environmental impact statement. That will take probably about 2 years. And we are in negotiation with multiple utilities on the sale of the power at this time. I would also like to introduce Jack Jacob, who is one of the landowners, and he may have something to add to this.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Any questions? You mentioned about some of these governmental agencies that you have to deal with. One thing that I know it created has excitement. I know that people are thinking about the jobs that are going to be out there and working on. But reviewing with my limited knowledge about this solar financing is going to be the most important part of it. Do you have the financing in place, or is it going to be relied on for the project itself on the federal government?
We will not be relying on the federal government for financing.
So 100% of this is going to be financed privately then?
Yeah, well, we presume so. We don't know what Congress is going to do next. I'm not sure Congress does. But we would take advantage of whatever opportunities the government might give us. Currently, there are none. But in order to obtain financing, first you need to get the power purchase agreements with the utilities. That establishes a revenue stream from which you can go out and get your financing.
Thank you. Any questions from the speaker? Thank you.
Thank you.
We have additional speakers. Brad Chapman on 4B and C. Do you want to address, or you made already? Okay. Scott Chapman, any comments?
The only question I would have.
Could you come to the tribune, please? We also need you to state your name.
Scott Chapman. The only point I would make is do I need to reiterate what I said on A?
Okay.
I do need to.
Go ahead.
Okay. Can't say it exactly the same, but I think this is a good project for Mohave County. It's going to create numerous jobs, both during construction and afterwards.
Okay, thank you. Any question from the speaker? Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Susan Moore, Bear.
Good morning. My name is Susan, sorry, allergies. Susan Moore-Bear. I think this project should be approved. It certainly is a stellar project. I spoke on original when it was there because it does not use water per se as the other water guzzlers that were approved prior, such as Albios and Wallapai Valley Solar. And we know where they both went, literally down the toilet. This one I don't think will because there's not enough water to flush. So I think it's an excellent project. It's not going to use that type of water. My question would be to clarify 400 permanent jobs on photovoltaic. Maybe a little high, I don't know what that consists of, but usually at a particular pitch in that you don't need anybody to really wash those at a 32-degree pitch. So I'm not sure where these 400 jobs are going to be, but I think that should be clarified because it seems a little high for it. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Okay. And that's all we have on the speakers. We close that to the speakers. Commission? Discussion among commissions? What? I'm sorry.
Make a follow-up statement if I could.
Please come out. Brad, right? Brad Chapman?
Brad Chapman. Again, as far as the technology goes, I don't think anybody can stand in this room, depending on what the technology is, and determine how many jobs, post or, present or post or future, it's going to entail. Being a part of a lot of these projects and installing over 50 megawatts just last year, there's too many variables to understand. As far as washing panels, there's all sorts of different recommendations, 4 times a year, 12 times a year, what do you do? So from a job standpoint, I guess my only comment to that was even if it produced 25 jobs permanent, that's 25 more than there are now. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Nope. Alrighty, now we close it to the public and discussion, commissioners. If not, entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Aye. Okay, item 4D.
Item 4D is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to BOS Resolution Number 2010-233, which set forth a rezone of, and with your indulgence, I won't read the entire list.
Okay.
Lands more specifically described in BOS Resolution 2010-233 to establish an E energy overlay zone on properties currently zoned AR and AR 36A, agricultural residential 1 and 36 acre minimum lot size zones, and from AR and AR 36A, agricultural residential 1 and 36 acre minimum lot size zones to an MX heavy manufacturing zone in the Mohave County general area, to amend the energy overlay portion to change the proposed technology from Stirling engine, ESE, to solar photovoltaic, ESP, and noting that the MX portion of the rezone is not affected. Staff recommends that approval of the proposed amendment to Condition 1 of BOS Resolution 2010-233 be approved as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
The Commission, 4C has not been read into the record yet, nor has the Commission voted on 4C. 4C is a plan amendment and must be handled before the rezone, so I'm going to ask that you table the rezone until after, table 4D until after you've heard 4C.
Okay.
Make a motion that we table 4D and go back and open 4C.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 4C now.
Yes, item 4C is amendment to BOS Resolution Number 2010-231, setting forth an approval of a major amendment to the Sterling Area Plan and boundary adjustment and expansion and possible adjustment between the Sterling Area Plan and the Desert Hills Area Plan for various sections in Township 16.5 North, Range 20.5 West, 16.5 North, Range 20 West, 16 North, Range 20.5 West, 16 North, Range 20 West, and 16 North, Range 19 West. And also to amend Exhibit 6.4 and 6.10 of the general plan to match for an area approximately covering 21 square miles. Staff recommends approval of the proposed changes as outlined herein. And there are some photographs here from 4B and C. The prior map showed the locations of these photographs taken from either on the perimeter of the site, looking to the west and to the south, and from the center of the site, looking also west, north, and south. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, I have a question. Since the vote was on 4B and C, do we need to go back and address the public and vote on C, or that was sufficient?
Mr. Chairman, my recommendation would be if you have any persons who are interested in speaking on C, yeah, if you have any persons interested in speaking on C.
Okay, does the applicant want to address commission on 4C? Okay, any question from the applicant on 4C? Okay, do we have any speakers that they want to add anything on 4C? Okay, we have none, all right. So do we call a motion? Okay,
yes.
Call for a motion if there is no further discussion by the commission. 4C.
Need a motion? Is that what you said?
You need to.
Well, I'll make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right, go back to 4D now.
Mr. Chairman, you would need a motion to bring 4D off the table.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to reopen 4D.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And 4D is already read to the record, right? Okay. On 4D, we, applicant, I don't know if, do you want to address the commission?
To the extent that you have any questions.
Okay, any question from the applicant on 4D? I guess there is none. We have two speakers, Heidi Short.
Vice Chairman, members of the Commission, for the record, Heidi Short, 3003 North Central Avenue, Phoenix, with Fenimore Craig representing BNSF. We have been working with the applicant, actually the applicant's attorney, for the last few weeks here, and I believe we've come up with 3 stipulations of approval that address BNSF's concerns, and I believe are acceptable to the applicant. To make sure we're all singing from the same hymn book, I just handed him copies of what were sent out to all of you. And we would just request that any recommendations you make would include these 3 stipulations that hopefully you have before you in writing. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, any question from the speaker? None? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chairman,
One moment, please. Let me be done with the speakers, then you have the opportunity to talk. Susan Moore-Baird, do you want to address? Do you have anything to add, or you're good? I just want you to approve. Okay, thank you. Now, please.
I just wanted to say that we concur with the railroad and we've discussed these stipulations, so they're fine with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we close it to the public. Any discussion among commissioners? Chris?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate the applicant agrees with the stipulation. The department actually has concerns. The first 2 stipulations, which was a requirement for the, the conditions of the original rezone approval stay in place. Those do stay in place regardless. So we look at that as a bit redundant, but should the commission decide to do so, that's not a huge issue for us. The next is that they demonstrate to the county that any kind of excavation, any kind of grading will not adversely affect their tracks. The county is actually required by law to make sure that any kind of excavation does not affect any adjacent landowner, it goes beyond just the railroad. The third one is the most problematic to us, which states that basically they'll demonstrate to us that there'll be no creation of hazards for railroad workers and that they'll maintain railroad safety. As part of our site plan process under Section 27P of our zoning ordinance, we have no one on staff who's qualified to identify whether or not a railroad is operating safely or not, whether the workers are operating safely or not. And so we would prefer that condition not be added. We have no problem with asking the applicant to send a site plan to the railroad. If the railroad has comments, we'll take them into consideration during our process. We just have no business, in absence of expertise, of making any kind of call on whether or not the railroad is safe or not.
Thank you. Yeah, I concur with the staff. Item 1 and 2 is already, it's part of the staff regardless, and item 3 is going to create liability for the county, so I agree with the staff recommendation. Any comments from the commissioners on this side? Okay, if not, I entertain a motion.
I would have a comment.
Thomas, oh, please,
and having been the railroad folks just heard what was said, you're okay with that?
Actually, if I might.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine, all right, thanks. I tried to draft stipulation 3 carefully so that they were providing information to BNSF and just working with the railroad. I tried not to have the county make any statement. I tried to avoid any liability to the county, so it was simply providing BNSF with information because we won't know anything about the specific technology. They'll have all the information, and so we won't know. We'll be in the dark. And then just to work with us, that was all. I didn't want to, I tried to draft it so there wouldn't be any liability on the county.
I just want to make sure everyone's talking to each other, that's all.
Yeah, yes. And we would be in the dark if we don't get the studies. We just won't have them, we won't know.
Okay, thank you.
Heidi, all the steps that county is going to be taking is going to be public information and it's going to be available to you. So I don't think that would be any.
Yeah, our concern is that these specific studies be done. These wouldn't otherwise be required under 27P. So we're looking at, you know, when you're an applicant, you're just trying to get your application done. You're just trying to fulfill the county's requirements, of course. And these are additional, and they might be forgotten. They wouldn't be required to be submitted otherwise.
Okay.
We just wanted to get the materials.
Okay, any further discussion among the commission? If not,
I'd like to make one comment.
Go ahead.
We've come a long way in a month. You know, thank you guys for explaining. I think it's awesome that the railroad's working with you and you're working back. That's what we need. And then maybe we can get something built here. So thank you very much. And thank you, the county staff. You guys, I know it was kind of, seemed a little hurried last month. There was a lot more explanation this month. Thank you very much.
Okay, with that explanation, can I entertain a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to accept staff recommendations for 4D.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, motion carries. Chris, do we have time? Because we only have one item left.
Mr. Chairman, yes, go ahead and hear the one item.
We don't have that.
Yeah, and then we'll take a break at that point.
Item 5.
Item number 5. Item number 5.
Item 5 is an evaluation of a request to grant an extension to determine compliance with the schedule for development or to rescind and cause the property to revert from MX Heavy Manufacturing to the previous zone of AR 36A, Agricultural Residential 36-acre minimum lot size, for failure to meet conditions of approval as specified in BOS Resolution numbers 2006-689, 2007-476, and 2009-263, which approved the rezone and extensions of time for rezone of assessor's parcel number 209-23-001C and 209-23-002 in the Griffith vicinity. Staff recommends the BOS resolution numbers 2006-689, 2007-476, and 2009-263 be rescinded, and that zoning revert from MX Heavy Manufacturing to the previous zone of AR 36A, Agricultural Residential 36-acre minimum lot size. Thank you.
Is the applicant present for item number 5? Okay. We have no speakers. Any questions or comments of the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to rescind per staff recommendations on item number 5.
Second.
We have a motion to rescind item number 5. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 5. Okay, does,
Adjourn?
well, but first let's talk, has anybody got any questions or comments or anything that they'd like to discuss before we adjourn the meeting? Yes. Chris.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, as long as you're here, you have to remain in session, so we're actually going to ask that you take a break as opposed to adjourn in the meeting. When we transfer the computer, sir, you're all still going to be here, so you're going to have to remain in session.
Okay, well
So
then
we're
we're
going to
not
ask
going
that
to
you
adjourn.
take a break.
We're going to take a break for a few minutes while we install the new computers.
I second the motion.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Want a break?